Hey guys. Waiting for Taylor to join us here in a second. We have 1 minute until we are officially on. It's going good. Really appreciate you guys being here. Here we go. Yeah.
Here we are.
Taylor. Here we are, man. Technology is at an all-time high. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for joining the Awolnation family, and for all of your fans. My name's Aaron, and it's nice to meet you guys as well. So I thought we would get together and talk about some different ways to navigate through this incredibly difficult time, and
Wow.
kind of focus on different things, whether it's ways to stay mentally positive, or just different ways to fill the time in a positive way while we're stuck at home. So I guess
Hey,
I thought I would start by asking you to share. I know you've been incredibly generous in the past and really good and forward thinking when it comes to charity and help. And I know you have an incredible charity that you work with called Food on the Move. So I thought we would start with that. You could share about that.
yeah. Well, hey, first of all, hey, man. I guess we didn't know we had like a dress code going.
I know,
Aaron hat.
but I got to go forwards. Not everybody could rock a backwards hat, and you're doing a good
Oh.
job. So just keep it going.
So yeah, what a crazy time.
Yeah.
I can't remember a time in my life. I mean, I think we were talking about not to directly compare it, because it's very, very, very different. But obviously 9/11 hit kind of everybody.
Yeah.
And here, so wild, like in my lifetime, it's the last time I remember this. Like you walk into a room and you look at somebody and they sort of already know there's something happening that you're all connected by. And I just
Yeah.
think that speaking, when you think about charity or giving, a lot of times, in times of plenty, sometimes you have to explain something you're passionate about, like a giving thing, and people, they're doing their job, they're doing their work, they're pursuing their dreams, they're keeping busy, and sometimes you have to go when you say, hey, we're feeding people or we're helping people with this challenge or that. It takes a minute, right, to kind of
Yeah.
get back. Let's talk about those kinds of things. But I think one of the things that's really is a sort of silver lining of being in a moment where most people are sort of limited in what they can do and thinking about how to take care of their families and how to just be human. Things like feeding people or making sure that they have a roof over their head or thinking about, what it means to literally wake up and like, how am I going to take care of my kids? Like people are more on that track right now. And so,
Yeah.
uh,
Real issues.
yeah, real issues. Like, I mean, I know it seems, um, there's a lot of really great causes. So yeah, we have I started a deal called Food on the Move back in 2014, and it's been focused on the deeper issues of food insecurity in areas where people are hungry and don't have grocery stores and are already in neighborhoods that are depressed. And so we work to try and essentially build a bridge and work on long-term change to get people reinvesting in communities and bringing more local produce and businesses back, and meeting people where they are, which is sometimes like today they're hungry, but maybe tomorrow they're not, and in the future we want them to be on the other side of the spectrum, over time. So it's interesting right now, these neighborhoods we work in Tulsa. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where we've hung out many times, and it's just so crazy because there's already a group of people that are waking up, in a regular day, not having access to food, not knowing whether the family's going to make it. But right now, it's at a whole nother level. We have people that are in these areas. And there's sort of different pockets in Tulsa. North Tulsa is sort of historically has had some economic issues and been fairly depressed and has had highs and lows over time. But the east side, the west side, I mean, there's pockets throughout the city that are without grocery stores and pretty challenging economic times. But right now, you got people that might have been on the donation side that are also like, man, some groceries right now would be really nice,
Yeah.
or a meal for my family. So yeah, we're, in Tulsa. I think, that's our home. So everybody, I think, should support where they're from and support their home. But for me, we're taking more donations and support at foodonthemoveok.com. People can go there, and if they want to give and do something from home that makes a difference, that's maybe a positive thing you can do. Maybe there's a cause in your town. Turn your home time into something that you feel kind of helpless, but you can still do a lot these days. Think about how much you can do by like us right now. You can reach out and make a difference in somebody's life, even while we're like, okay, well, life just got flipped upside down. So
I think it's been helpful just to talk to people. You and I spoke a little bit yesterday, and kind of went back and forth on how we were both feeling in totally different states, and that's helpful too. Community is also been a good thing. Like, I mean, I spend each morning talking to a different person with a different thought or a different circumstance, and it's really helpful to be open to hearing everybody's story right now and how they're dealing with everything, for sure.
Yeah, it's such a crazy week, crazy time. A lot of people using their platforms to share music, which is cool.
Yeah,
I mean, and you're reminded just how powerful it can be to just be encouraged that somebody else is going through something, and just feel like you're not alone, which so often that's the case. You just feel like, hey, what I'm doing, nobody else can understand this. Nobody else can, recognize and empathize. But I don't think that's the case today.
It's been interesting. I don't know how many people who are watching this can agree, but some songs feel more appropriate than others right now, and some songs seem kind of tacky, where I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't feel right to listen to. So music has been the thing that's always, this is obviously a bit of a simple thing that may sound like a bit thin or shallow, but your emotions are so important right now, right? And so if you're able to listen to a song that takes you away for a little bit and gives you some sort of escape, that's a great thing. And that's what music has always done for me, and I'm pretty sure it's done the same thing for you, whether it's been different breakups, or we've all been through certain tragedies in our life and hardships that have gotten all of us through different kinds of struggles, and I'm really curious what everybody else is listening to and to help get through this weird time. Are there any songs that you've been jamming on or enjoying?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm weird like this, but I guess people know Hanson stuff as being fairly upbeat, and I say this to make a point about stuff I listen to, but I'll oftentimes find sort of finding joy in the midst of the elephant in the room of the sadness as being kind of helpful, because when you're already laying, it's sort of like songs that celebrate life, but don't, from a point of view of some depth, like you can have joy without it being like Chumbawamba, tub thumping. So my go-to is early Ray Charles jazz, like mood setting, mind setting, like freeing, and songs where you're just kind of songs that take more time.
Sure.
Songs that take, it's like, the record, like we've gotten so away from records as we've all gotten our attention span just pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
And just like turning on an entire album, listening.
The good old days of listening to an album as a story.
Yeah, letting it run. Letting it run.
And how nice vinyl feels, and the needle on the record and that hiss is so beautiful right now.
Yeah, it's totally true. I mean, I didn't discover Neil Diamond until I was almost, I don't know. I guess I wasn't that old, but I felt like I was late when I was probably about 20. And all of a sudden, like, Neil Diamond, oh my God, what's the name?
Yeah.
And
I'm so stoked you just brought up Neil Diamond in this conversation.
Dude, I love Neil Diamond.
Yeah.
His lyrics, the gutsiness of his lyrics, those records, you know, and I think people, that's one of those guys, like, I feel like he puts these, like, he dropped into pop songs, these like heavy lyric bombs, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like Forever in Blue Jeans. I mean, it's just like, come on,
Yeah.
you know, and, you know, he's literally talking about like the American dream and this idea of like being a working class person, and like the fact that you're, you know, you are what you do, not what you say you're going to do, you know, just like this is, you know, at least that's the way I always took that. So, I just think, yeah, just a longer form. And honestly, my kids are, have become, especially two of my boys, are really, really musical. And it's like, it's not been forced at all. Like it was early on, like, hey, do your piano lessons, man. You'll be good. You'll be glad later. But now one is a drummer and one's a piano player, and they come in here and play. And I've just been home a lot more this last week. All of us have been.
Of course. Yeah.
That's been awesome. Like,
Yeah.
like they're coming in here and just jamming, and it's so cool to hear them becoming these artists in their own right. So that's been super.
So was that
cool.
the announcement of Hanson 2.0, basically?
Well, no, they you know, we own the name, so they can't use it. So
yeah.
No,
Good
I mean,
business, you know.
I don't know, man. I've always wanted people to do what they care about and they're
Mm-hmm.
passionate about, and that means, if that does mean something that I've loved my whole life, I mean, I couldn't be happier about it. But I do think often, man, what would it be like to be? I didn't grow up with somebody who's, you know, where my dad was actually a performer in studios touring. You know, I didn't experience that, and I always, you know, you kind of worry, like, does that kind of make somebody either like not appreciate it or appreciate it a lot? Like, where do they fall? Like, when that's
Yeah,
when you're
are
like,
they going to think that their dads are just, you know, their dad's a dork or something like that,
yeah,
and not want to play music at all, and get
yeah,
into, you know, baseball to rebel against music or something like that, you know?
yeah, and they, I mean, we've got, I mean, I've got a bunch of kiddos, so we have different people with different interests. I do have definitely like a business guy who is basically like, yeah, I want to be the manager, not the artist. Like,
Right.
that's his. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
That's probably
But
a more consistent job route, I'm sure, and
yeah, I think it's more just he wants
more
to be
security, possibly, you know?
yeah, he just wants to be in control of everybody. Hey, I'm gonna shut this door real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
But I think, you know, music, you know, you were just talking about what people are going through. I've just always felt like you know, I know different people have these, you know, it's maybe fairly universal. It is the universal language, but I've always felt like if you stripped back music, especially, and good art, it really is that it's this medium to connect people, you know, because it's so primal, you know, music
Yeah.
is it's visceral, primal thing. And, and so I think at times that's always been the medium for me is does it connect? Does it pull something out of me? And if it does, boom, then that means it must be something worth sharing. If not, then you should keep digging. So I'm just really grateful to have that.
Yeah, and the same goes for songwriting. If you could write a song that moves you in that honeymoon phase of a song idea, the hope is that it could do the same thing for other people listening. And you know, now is you know, such a great time to I don't know. Maybe I encourage people to listen to all the music that they love and see what sits best with them now, and maybe what doesn't. And you know,
Yeah.
like spring cleaning of music in some ways, where you're like, you know, get rid of this, you know, or listen to something more, you know.
Well, it is free. It is, you know, it is spring. It is time. So this is it. I mean, I'm looking around. It's such an ironic sort of moment. And I know, you know, just to be clear, obviously many people are doing fine, you know, right now and able to work from home. But it is, and maybe they have a job, or they're, you know, economically they're okay. But man, there are a lot of people that are really, really struggling right now because the future is so unknown. And then at the same time, so I know that's happening. At the same time, you're looking outside and this, you know, here come the flowers and here come the buds and And I think it's kind of interesting to have to sort of think, well, you know, if you're a religious person, you go, well, God is sort of sitting back there going, hey man, I got this. You don't have this. I've got other things going on. And if you're not, you could say it's the universe, and the the world around you is there. It's still in bloom. You know, it's still alive. It's still moving, and we're the ones that are kind of going, oh my gosh, what's ahead? But that it's not stopping that flower. You know, which I just think
I think it's important no matter what's going on. And this goes for any terrible situation that we go through as people. My mom has this like cute saying where she says joy is an option. And that's stuck with me a lot because, you know, we've all been through different difficult times, of course, and to varying degrees. And I always try in those situations, in the face of fear or chaos or uncertainty, to, as an almost exercise, to challenge myself, figure out a way to find something positive in that. So as to further your point, to look at some of the nature that's starting to bloom. That's one positive outlook. And look, I think we're all aware that everybody's in a different situation, in a different circumstance, but whatever that is, like, you know, if you're feeling physically ill or mentally ill, if you could find something to laugh about, that can't be a bad thing.
Right. Well, I mean, just stick on that for a second. This will be our kumbaya session. But
lots of hearts.
It is so true, though. I mean, and it's hard when you're really despairing. I mean, and I've been really blessed. A lot of people in my family, we've been blessed by getting to do things we care about. But we can choose joy. Like you said, you can choose. You know, I think about the stories of people in prison, you know, like Cedric Bonhoeffer, and being, you know, in concentration camps, and these, like, the worst of the worst in humanity you can imagine, they can even conceive of. And the idea that we can choose, you can't be forced to change what's happening inside here. And that is the decision you make right now is, you know, up to you. Do you have, you know, a choice to be joyful or to despair? And it doesn't always feel like a choice. A lot of times that feels like it's just coming down on you and like you're out of control. But in the moments where you can see a little sunshine and go, wow, okay, I get it. Like, I can find the small, you know, things in life to celebrate, and find joy, which is different.
Sometimes it's a really small thing that can go a long way too. And to try to not overlook the little things, you know. I mean, I think everybody's been very, we're challenged as humans right now, for sure. And so, you know, it's hopefully when we're on the other side of this, which, you know, no one knows when that will be, but there'll be some stuff we've learned about ourselves, both good and bad. I know I've learned a lot in the last couple of weeks, some things about myself that I'd like to improve on, for sure. And I guess this sort of leads to something I do have some questions written down in my journal, by the way, which is very responsible and studious of me, given the fact that I barely graduated high school. But I did want to ask you, because this is sort of furthering what we're talking about. If there are any tools, not to put you on the spot like this, but that have helped you to deal with disappointment. And this is, you know, through your journey, through your musical career, because there's so many highs and lows, and you've been doing it since you were really young. So I'm sure you've attained a lot of different wisdom. And I'm wondering if there's certain, you know, tools you can use to deal with disappointment, anxiety, stage fright, fear, you know, and everything in between, from a musical standpoint, as a person who gets on stage, and clearly to all these adoring fans, because I'm looking at some of the comments, glancing in my peripheral, and people are just having a great time that you're here. So thanks again for being here.
Of course, yeah. Anxiety, how to deal with people with things feeling out of control, is that kind of the question? I mean, because I think for me, it's figuring out how to focus on things you can control, and learning early. I mean, like you said, you've been performing and playing music, you know, for so much of your life, and I've done it since I was a kid, and I oftentimes say we don't get nervous or don't get, in those pressure situations. And it's not just performing. There's any situation where you're in front, you have something in front of you that you have to deliver. You've got to come up with an answer to an economic problem. Can you provide for your family? Should you take this leap? Any of those moments where you're about to, like, your decision is going to impact your experience, and other people are not. You're not going to be able to hide. Like, it's going to be in front. It's going to be known. The best thing I've come back to, and it is really to take a breath and go, okay, what can I control? Because the stuff you can't control, I mean, inherently, fear is illogical. Like, it's not. It actually is. It takes something real and then turns it into your emotions are running you, right? It's not. It inflates every possible thing that could happen and turns it into the worst possible version. And so then that just stacks on top of each other until all you're hearing is the worst possible version of anything that could happen. So I've never really been a quote unquote meditation guy, but I remember thinking about going back to, okay, well, this is how I everything from, I'm about to go in front of people, like, look, I'm good. I dressed myself well. I feel good about this. I know what I'm going to say. What am I going to say? There's 3 things that I actually know. Okay. Basic mindful things that are back to, okay, like, I can't control who's going to walk in the room. I can't control whether that person's going to like what I'm going to say. I can't expect everybody to want what I want. And a lot of times that's the most painful thing for me is you go like, well, but this is such a great thought. This is a great plan. This is a place I want to go. Shouldn't everyone want to be there? And they don't necessarily.
Yeah.
They don't. They're not. Just because you feel it and think it and feel convinced of it does not mean that everyone else is going to just sign on and feel that same way. And so in that moment of despair, if you fixate on that reality, which is honestly, for most cases, is more common than not, that others don't get exactly what you're feeling, exactly where you're at, and you can't say, you can't just lean out to the audience or lean out to the group of friends or lean into the business meeting and be like, do you guys feel me? Like, confide in everyone? No, like, they're not going to be exactly where you are. So you have to sort of do. I have a friend that's much older that oftentimes talks about open hands. Like, there's
Right.
this, there's like, which you feel often justifiably, but like, hands out is oftentimes like that's about all you can do. And a lot of times, once you're releasing that control, it opens up the reality that there are a lot of things that can happen and can occur that you don't have to control, that are gonna be good. And so, start with what you can and then let go of the rest.
That's great. I have a simple question, I guess, which would be, for everyone at home is trying to figure out what to do to stay productive and keep their mind in a positive direction or occupied. If there's anything that you've been doing at home that has been helping, whether it's different, playing an instrument or doing something simple with your family that you could think of to share with anyone checking us out right now.
Well, one funny, speaking of not controlling things, I just had a repair guy come to fix our refrigerator, and he was like knocking on the door. It's hilarious. The life that keeps moving. Things you do at home. I mean, honestly, taking more time to play a game with your kids, or to again focus on what's in front of you. That we've gotten to do some things over the last week or so, that just because it's been like spring break would be if everybody really was able to fully unplug, and so quality time with the little people is probably the number one, and that's come in several ways. We love watching movies. We love my littlest girl she's a better game player than I am, every game. and so she'll school me on anything with a board, so game board. So sitting with her and just trying to be there. But man, it's not easy for me. I mean, I have such a hard time sitting still. You know, I have such a hard time not thinking about, uh, man, I want to do this. I mean, even right now, like we talked about Food on the Move earlier. You know, you've got your brain is out here because
Mm-hmm.
you're, oh man, but on the Tuesday, I would typically be doing X and X and X and X and X. And where are those people and what are they doing? It's kind of back to what we were saying. What do you
Yeah.
do? You, it's hard. It's hard to sit still and not be engaged in what is your norm. So yeah, so being able to visit and sit and be present uh, with family and do the things that, like we said, with albums, like that take a little more time. You know, turn on the music and make dinner. You know, and
Yeah.
actually, it's one of my favorite things. I love to cook. So like a long process of cooking a meal that otherwise I might end up skipping on a regular night.
What's your specialty? What is the Taylor special? On a
Um,
Today's Tuesday, so it's the Tuesday Taylor special meal tonight.
you know,
What's going on?
I am I have a couple things that I've sort of become like a thing that I make. We make these spicy tacos that are sort of a mix of Asian and Mexican flavors. It has ginger and all kinds of marinades and stuff. But Italian is my soul food. Um,
Cool.
yeah, I mean, it speaks to my being. So of all kinds. But I mean, honestly, my favorite for me, it's cathartic. So I love to walk in and grab a few things and come up with something. Like to me, it's very art, extension of art to cook.
A good way to be creative.
Yeah, and then you eat it at the end. It's extremely
Yeah.
satisfying.
You make
So,
it and then you destroy it with joy.
yeah, you make it, you destroy it, and
What a
then you
weird.
have to make it again. So I love that, and I love that. Food is very share. You know, it's hard to cook for one. So
Yeah.
usually when you cook,
Yeah.
you know, the idea that you're making for multiple people, like I love that quality of food
And
too.
if you make it for yourself, you're probably not going to put as much care as you
Yeah,
are to impressing
yeah,
others, you
exactly.
know.
Yeah,
Well, I know we're running out of time. We have about 3 minutes left, and because I know you're really busy, so I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to everybody with me.
no, awesome.
Do you happen to have an instrument handy? Or you feel like playing anything at all? Or oh, so there happens to be something. Maybe you could send us off with something. You know, you could sing, not sing, all of the above, rap. Sounds good on my end.
Yeah, so this is called Been There Before. There's a downtown call, people downtown, and a backbeat rhythm on the radio, and a girl who listens to a young man's song on the block I live in the place I'm from. Tell me, does it move you? Does it soothe you? Does it fill your heart and soul? The roots of rock and roll. Does it move you? Does it soothe you? Does it fill your heart and soul? The roots of rock and roll. I played this the other day when we did a deal for Austin, and probably just this song is one of the songs that comes to mind most because it's a song about how music pulls you together. I mean, we've written quite a few songs in that theme, so I know fans know that this song gets played, you know, in shows because of that. But there's a lyric at the end. We did this the other day for Austin, but it finishes with, when you can't get through it, you can listen to it with a na 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 na. Well, I've been there before. When you can't get through it, you can listen to it with a na 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 na. Well, I've been there before. back to what we were talking about. Music,
Yeah,
it gets us back. So
that was amazing. It sounded really good on my end. I hope it felt good to play. It sounded really good.
yeah,
And
man.
everything, and it was nice to hear, man. Great lyrics. And thank you for being so vulnerable and just doing that on the spot. That's not an easy thing to do. If you called me out, I just would probably jump out of the door here. And,
Yeah, well, don't do that.
so, man, thank you so much. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add before we bounce. I know you guys are doing some stuff. I got to tell you, my cousin Veronica Capaldi is
Yeah.
one fans, but she's telling me, and ever since we were little kids, she's been saying she's your number one fan. So if I didn't say that Veronica Capaldi says hi and that she loves you.
Well, tell Veronica hello, and man, we love what you do, and I
Thank you.
really appreciate you reaching out, and yeah, I mean, just being friends, and everybody that's watching, I just say, keep your head up, and
Yeah.
This time it's going to come, it will pass, and change will come out of it. Some good things, some bad things, but I think we're all just trying to make the most of it. So hope everybody out there is being safe and is able to make the most of a really sort of strange moment in history, as we're all kind of sitting in front of our screens or our families. And if you can find something good out of it, then Godspeed. Let's do that. And
Okay.
let's do it.
Thank you, Taylor, very, very much. And thanks for all of your fans for checking us out as well.
Yeah.
And hopefully all our fans can become friends and
yes,
talk about the good food that you make. Something like that.
Call a friend. Maybe that's the theme. Call a friend, guys.
Yeah.
If you have
check in with anyone, check in with everyone you can. Even if someone's feeling pretty down, I've definitely talked to different people. Some people are up, some people are down, and sometimes just listening is good. I find myself doing a lot of listening, and that's sometimes a hard thing to do, but that's all we have, So
I love it.
Love you, brother. Thank you so much.
You too, man.
Have a great day, man. Take care.
Take care out there, and we'll see you guys soon. Keep your head up.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. That was Taylor. That was incredible. Tomorrow, I'm going to have Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses. And go ahead and message me or comment anywhere of any specific questions that you may have for him. But again, that was Taylor Hanson. What a great time that was. What a great singer. What a great singer. So I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time. Hope you have a great day. Try to stay positive. Reach out to someone.